I forgot to turn the microphone on. Great. Fantastic. Welcome back to the stream. This should work a little bit better. Alright. So what we got? We are dead last in the league. Yeah. We drew the last game though. This was horrible. This, not so much. So against Falkenberg, which are in the middle of the league, we're trying to get a point, I guess. We need to find some solution for the point crisis. On the other hand, yeah, we're playing moderately well right now, so. Where is the board confidence? So this is about competition confidence. This is fine. They want us to finish in relegation playoffs. Well, that would be great. Here it is. Sorry. Off to a great start already. Yeah, here it is. So, more or less, they are still happy with our management of the team. Match performance in particular was pleasing to them. Transfer activity, not that much. So against Falkenberg, I think we'll try the defensive formation for a change. This should be unexpected to them. And maybe, given that we need to avoid to play Tillander, or we could. Maybe we can find a replacement that find some space. On the other hand, Tillander's the fastest player we have, so maybe it's better the other way around. Yeah. I guess that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to sell him. All of us one moved up. Due to better performances, maybe? No, growing reputation. Which might have to do with better performances. He's asking to leave at this point. Such a shame. He did so well. Well, not this season, but overall he did so well. So, with this guy, I don't think we're interested. The low determination is not a great personality. And there's some really concerning low attributes here. So, thank you very much. That wasted 300 or something euros. Falkenberg. Tiki-taka. Okay. Some sort of balanced tiki-taka version, apparently. And if we look at this, we gotta be very cautious. Oh, doorbell. I gotta take that. I'll be right back. Might be the postal guy. Well, not a postal guy. Grocery deliveries. If you want to put it that way. Okay, back to the stream. Where were we? Yeah, about formation and tactics for the next game. I'm not sure how to deal with this. We do not necessarily need to win any game in this league. Well, in the end, we could use a win, sure. But overall, it's fine as long as we don't lose. I know, really great statement. But seen from that perspective, an away game is always alright with 1 point as a result. That's okay. And given the circumstances of the club, I think it's viable that we try to defend this. We just gotta get used to it. And hopefully the new defensive formation is a bit more successful than the last one. Also, the very defensive mindset might be overdoing it. For most people, it's not very entertaining. But on the other hand, given our position in the league, that's probably alright with us. Suits us. We might also have a talk with the players, maybe. And by the way, that Tillander sale, that's really a problem. He wants to leave now, but nobody came in for an offer. So that might take a while, and he might be part of the squad for that time. It's a bit of a problem. Also, we got no replacement just yet. In fact, do we? Let's have a look into the U19. We had some trial lists coming in. Release him. Welcome back, man. And yeah, I will abide by the poll. I will not release. Should I really release him immediately? You know what that costs? I guess I'm fine. No, it's the start of the weekend, right? So it's okay more or less. Yeah. How are you? What's new with you? True. Now he wants to leave. I see. It rained all day with us too. So I certainly get that perspective. It can be, yeah, very, very calm, I think. Rainy sounds outside. You are probably aware there's a website for a soundtrack called Rainy Mood. There's probably multiple websites at this point. And there's nothing but rain sounds all day. I should probably use that as a background for the stream. That would be rather chill. On the other hand, then half of my viewership would probably complain about going to the toilet all day, so let's not do that. That's very specific. I have no idea about jazz, so yeah, I'm not the one to converse about this. Well, I could, but you know, I don't deserve an opinion on that kind of music, so you have to find somebody else here. Yeah, me too. That said, I've come to enjoy sunlight too. Really, any weather, nature in general. I like it. Maybe not so much it's not flies. Is it mosquitoes? I'm not sure. Not so much those. They started to appear recently. It's April. I guess they start to breed now. Time for winter. Yeah. In Nuremberg there's also a decent amount of water, so you know, with the river and some parks, some ponds, there's enough breeding ground for that kind of stuff. Also a lot of blood available, so I guess they are part of it. Well, I said we should talk to the players. I guess we really should. They are on a defend duty in both cases, okay. Some vampires. There's a so there's Vampire Survivors, you're probably aware, a game. And then there's some game called, I think the official title is 20 Minutes Till Dawn or something like this, which is I don't know, similar, but has a nice theme. I just thought of it immediately. I played the demo, 10 Minutes Till Dawn. That was rather nice, but the demo is no longer available. I think it was some sort of beta demo. Okay, so Per Franson apparently trains really well. It might have to do with match experience for some reason. Yeah, it got released some months ago, I think. I never bought the full version. I guess that says something too. No, the demo was fine. It's just, you know, once you are without a job, you don't exactly go around shopping for new video games. Or maybe that's just the right time to go around shopping for new video games. I don't know. I'm confused on the manner. I guess people need that in particular in such a situation. Yeah, that training isn't good. There's also other games like Potato or stuff like that, of that particular genre. Yeah, so seen from that perspective, it's a very wrong time to do it now because I don't have tons of time anymore, right? Also, it would be deducted from my time with Football Manager. Yeah, and given that this game eats time like, I don't know, other people eat sweets, I think we're fine with this game for now. I don't think I'll do. I think a stream without music is fine. Because everybody can add their own music. And this is much less complicated. I wouldn't know what to use. If there's free music, you still have to... Well, you have to make sure prior to streaming it, right? And I don't want to be bothered with that, I guess. Also, maybe I don't like it, or, you know. Well, yeah. They can... You know, there was a time when music could be bought. There was some sort of file format, actually multiple, that you could use and store the music on your PC. So you can play it whenever you want. You don't need to rely on the internet anymore for that. Well, you relied on the internet too. That had all sorts of things. People went to jail for copying music. Not me though. And obviously I would never do anything that's illegal, so... Yeah, well, okay. I don't know what to do with the contracts. I guess then they are used to torture, and in that case, it's totally fine. They are used to it, they enjoy it. So they don't need music. Also, what tells you that my music would be less torturous to these people? People have very different tastes. And my taste in music is not necessarily what other people would like to hear. So, that's an argument against it. Definitely. There's quite a few contracts that run out. Yeah, true. That's true. I didn't think about that just yet. Yeah, you're right. This is a use case. This is entirely this is a bit out of my my way to think about things, because I sit in front of 3 screens all day, or if I don't, I usually try not to look at yet another screen. So I guess to consume media on mobile, I don't know, this is not me. That said, I read a lot on mobile, especially, well, not recently, but I read a lot of community, the rational reminder community. So this is investment stuff. I read a lot of that on the phone. So much that my girlfriend said I was some kind of addict. So I guess there's that. Yeah, so about these players though, let's get back to the topic here. So this is, yeah, once you go down that that hole, that's the picture. Once you go down that hole with investing and factor investing and all of that stuff, it can be kind of addictive, because it's very interesting. At least if you're interested in how markets work in general, I guess, or what's quantitatively viable. And in the end, it's not that complicated to get to a result, but that result is highly dependent on the person and on life circumstances and so on. So this is why bad investment advice can be found everywhere and good investment advice cannot be found anywhere. It's complicated and very subjective. All of these players are at the end of their contract. I don't think we need to do anything with these, with the exception of maybe a winger on the right wing for some reason. Which isn't part of this sample at all. I think I remember Kayembe though. But my problem is they are, not all of them, but most of them are rather old. Say we could get them in for trial. Sorry, they cannot be highlighted here, so I gotta do this one by one. Or I think I need to. Alright, what do we do with these? Yeah, we'll do it by skill level though, will we? Alright. From easy to hard, and probably if I switch the page it will... No. It keeps it. I'm really impressed. I'm impressed. Alright. Anyone's got an opinion? Well, it's only you, right? Only. I'm happy to have you here. Let's put it that way. But you got an opinion on Gustav Ostrom? Get rid of him, right? He's not good enough, he never will be. We do not offer him a full-time contract. Personality, give or take, there's a former model citizen. He's just not good enough. I'm sorry to do this to you, but there's not a chance. You think? I think he's not great. The thing is, he barely got any match experience. Because he's not good enough. And his personality switched from model citizen to lighthearted at some point. His teamwork and work rate and determination are really good. Stamina is decent too, technique is decent. So, given enough playing time, I think Shadow Striker at this point. No, attacking midfielder on support duty. So, the problem is he's not viable as a playmaker because his passing is really shitty and his vision is really bad too. He's more or less a finisher, if you want to put it that way. That's somebody dribbling and going for a long shot or finish to tap it in, I think. His technique is decent. So, say we can improve his shooting for some reason, then that would be okay. But it should be a rather static role, or a role that demands stamina and maybe work rate and teamwork. Got an idea for that role? Yeah, okay, well, there is a role for that. I guess box-to-box midfielder could be. But there's... Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the positioning of one, and also long throws marking, and there's a few concerning ones in here, but these are all in stats that are not important for him. So that's okay. I also don't care about bravery and heading to a degree. We can compensate for that. He's more of a creative player, which is totally okay. He's got flair 11. For our level, that's okay-ish. For somebody that's 21, though, yeah, well, sure. He could have developed that flair for the last 3 years. He didn't. Or anything else, really. Development-wise, he trains well, overall. I think that is... He does try. And you can clearly see that there's some improvement here. In this area. But for a box-to-box midfielder, it's all over the place. The attributes. And for Shadow Striker, which would be more suited, more natural to him, it's... I don't know, I guess he declined at the start, but he improved later on, once he got the odd game. So, experience is spent, but he didn't play much. Or maybe it's not the odd game, it's due to natural development. He might reach 1-star level at some point. But I don't think it's worth the money to give him 120 euros a week. That's a question of cost of opportunity. Yeah, so this you might probably know or see. This really pains me to do. Because I thought, we got a model citizen in the squad, but if that model citizen comes with nothing, then, yeah, what can you do? We should have played him for 3 seasons, but then we probably wouldn't have gotten promoted, so... Yeah, not great either. Korovic is an emergency backup that has a clause. I do not think we need to do anything here. And we'll set Ostrom for release. Nah. We'll not tell him that we will release him. But... And also the transfer listing is too hard. He doesn't cost much. We'll just keep him around, and in case he... I don't know. In case he plays at some point, then that's okay. So, Korovic is strictly what he is, an emergency backup. I wouldn't want to give him a full-time contract, and he can go at the end of the season. If we extend his contract, it's only for the role as an emergency backup. Hilberg, same. But we've got a clause here, at least he's got a decent personality. And for some weird reason, he plays recently. Yeah, now we got it. Oh, it randomizes the sorting within the star rating of the same star rating. So Boltigard Blom, he goes for retirement. Doesn't matter. Melander is not good enough, and he will be gone. Speedy Boy has significant potential and is out on loan. The problem with Speedy Boy is susceptibility to injury. By the way, we could recall him. Just saying. To compensate for the Tillander case. So, Speedy Boy I'm not so sure about. It's a rather risky bet to use him. Ytterhogdals... I wanted him to be more important to this club, but he just didn't get there. Ishak is really cheap for his physicals. That said, he brings nothing but the physicals and he's 27, and we will have a better striker. If he doesn't get hurt, which is highly unlikely. Westberg in general is not horrible as a keeper, but he's not great either, and the aerial reach has been problematic. Not always, but it has been. And then we're left with Bernson. Bernson is the best player out of the entire sample. I would want to extend his contract. Problem is, he doesn't want to, I think. And if he does, it will be for outlandish wages. Oh. Oh. At this point, he would be willing to. Well, in that case, let's roll with it. I'm going to wait until you make an offer. Okay. Well, that offer will be minimum offer. Relegation release clause. Okay. So I want to compare him to Ngongo for a second, before we spend that much money once more. Yeah, that's what I thought. He's got really good acceleration. His mentals are a bit better. His technicals, for some weird reason, are worse, but he's the better defender. That's Bernson. And on a physical side, Ngongo is, I guess, the more defensive option for some reason. Which is weird because his tackling is worse, so... yeah, positioning both 7. I don't know. That said, Bernson is 22, so this is a good extension, I think. If we can get him. But maybe for 250 or something. And he will not accept that. 3-year contract? Sure, why not? The entire rest is totally fine with me. Maybe not this. And that's not good enough for him. But the pure fact that he's willing to talk to us at this point, this is good. So maybe we can get him prior to his contract running out. With the staff, I will not extend the contracts just yet. And, well, there's youth players. All of these lack potential. Sivinsky we bought due to the potential and the current ability. He's prone to injury though. But we brought him in for that reason. And the rest of them here, none of them is worth anything, with the exception maybe of this goalkeeper. And that goalkeeper, skill-wise, is really bad. He's just a professional. That makes him a good addition to the squad. From a personality point of view. I'd rather have a 19-year-old goalkeeper that is professional than a 32-year-old that is fairly pro. Especially since, well, in both of these cases they don't have that much skill. So, no interest for Ostrom. I guess he will be released. Or maybe... let's put him to youngster. Okay. So Per Fransson is still a professional. More loyal. Less controversial. Higher pressure. Not as ambitious as before. Less sporting. And less adaptable. That's not that bad. Less ambitious isn't great. More loyalty is good, more pressure is good. And most importantly, he didn't lose professionalism. Rigby is a bit more loyal now. Well, okay. Joe Bolton's decreased. Well, that's interesting. Who is he with? Oh, with Tillander and Puget. Sure, that explains all of it. Well, we still want him to wind up opponents, so... Dylan Morgan left his agent. And there's 2 trials. So, my goal for each stream is to go through at least 1 game. For today, I'm hoping that we can make it to 2. I'm not sure. I got threatened that there is food at some point this evening, so I don't know how long I have. Salzwold. He's a central defender though. And this is yet another fullback that we do not necessarily need. In the U19, Comte might play in the first team though. Will he? Training rating is decent. Not great, but decent. Dirks is better though. On the other hand, Conte has been training for no-nonsense fullback. Not that it did much. Yeah, I'll keep him as an option. So he scores a lot. He scores a lot, but doesn't create that much. For some reason, we can see this in the attributes. It probably has to do with a shitload of pace and stamina and finishing that is just outlandish for this league. And he crosses a lot and has decent crossing, I guess. Inaccurate. Okay. That's weird. His crossing is good. And in the last match, they dominated the game. This is one of ours, is it? Yeah, it is. Player in the U19. Didn't develop much so far. You're asking the really heavy questions, or the really hard ones, I guess. It's been years, if not a decade, since I watched F1, so I tend to go with the underdog. Just everybody loves an underdog, apparently. So, I would, if I had to pick a team, and this might be what this is about, so I guess I'll answer like this. If I had to pick a team, I would pick the team that doesn't stand a chance. This is what I enjoy. Doesn't matter what it is. I didn't have one, I think. Back then, I think it was all between Ferrari and McLaren Mercedes. Back then. And I don't know. I didn't. It's not a thing for me, I think. But also, I don't think it's fair to say that I don't pick sides. What? 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 Are you kidding me? Do you want to revise your position? He's considering his options right now, but he doesn't want a new contract anymore. So, he's kinda happy. And everybody else is. Are we forgiving? Well, it doesn't have to do with forgiveness, right? It's not about forgiveness. It's about... We'll state it that way anyway. I want to use this. You were right with what? I'll repeatedly use this feature now, just for fun. And that fun is my fun, not yours. You might be annoyed by it at this point. There was a third option, it didn't get included. Oh, there it is. Off he goes. Alright. Well, there's a second viewer apparently, so maybe somebody else wants to influence that decision. At least this is what Twitch says. So... feel free to cast a vote. This is how it works in this stream. I will go for chocolate. If I can find it. There it is. Off he goes! Alright, we still sell him. We'll still sell him. And whoever the second watcher is, it's probably me, myself, and I. So we're still trying to sell him. Because there's interest. A lot of it actually, in him. These are all 1 league below, I don't care. Let's offer him out for an unspecified amount of money. And see what comes in. You're just trying to influence me into playing Puget every single game, right? This is what this is about. It is not the hate for... oh, well, hate is a strong word. It is not due to not wanting Tillander in the squad. This is about Puget's... well, that plan was kind of obvious. There's a fine line though. I like to play with inverted wingers or wingers. Well, usually the inverted kind. If you go down that road, be careful. We need at least 2 inverted wingers or 3. Otherwise, I might change tactics. And then Puget will not play because there's no winger in the squad. Right? Yeah. Go. You should probably go to Sweden and tell him that in real life. I think he's in real life. He's some kind of wonder kid. I'm not sure. Seriously though, if we do not have enough wingers in the squad, we will need to go for, I don't know, a 5-3-2 or something like this. So Puget will not play at all. Okay. At least from a physical point of view, yeah. You can probably beat him. If we proxy the real person with these attributes, I would say you are unlikely to outrun him, but you might be a bit stronger than him, and assuming you have average height, you're probably also taller. And a stronger aspect probably isn't that hard to achieve. That said, he's a professional athlete, so... okay. As long as you take your car, maybe. Oh! 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 Well, I'm taller than both of you. Not that it matters much. There's a saying, no, this is not family friendly. Oh, maybe it is family friendly. So, please be family friendly with your reactions. I think this stream is 1 meter 84 or something. So, not that tall. Strictly average. But there's a saying. So, I want to keep this family friendly, but now I have to tell you about this. You probably know it though. Nah. I've always been fearful of the ball, so this is not for me. That said, I played some football, yeah, from time to time, but strictly, you know, besides clubs or something. So just in my free time with other people. But that family unfriendly stuff I wanted to say is every man gets 2 meters. It's theirs how they distribute it. So I wanted to throw that one out. I learned that in a discotheque somewhere. Yeah, I can deal with that. I think playmaker roles I usually like because I like the strategic approach or the tactical approach in general to everything. So that's fine with me. Yeah. Second try. Next time you will probably, well, no, I'm tall enough to be in defensive midfield. I'm not strong enough to be in defensive midfield, so I'm a shitty defensive midfielder. Technique, you don't know. That said, I can certainly play a decent pass, I think, for somebody that's not a professional footballer. But on the other hand, and also I think I have the vision to at least try to play a decent pass from time to time, and not only the possession pass. So I'm always looking for a killer ball. That's really me. But the interesting thing is, you would probably be good at guessing, I don't know, star signs or something too. People like to do that kind of stuff. By the way, we've got 6 minutes talking until we need to do a break to get rid of the pre-roll ads. I don't know how to phrase this politically correct. I don't like to get hurt. Also, my head is basically all there is to this person. The rest of my body's shit. So, yeah, I said that. So, okay, it's on the internet now. Whatever, don't quote me on it, please. Anyway. No, but if there's anything that's acceptable, it's probably what's inside my head, so I wouldn't want to hurt it, if I can help it. With these offers here, though, let's have a look into these. These are all immediately and for more or less 2k. Given that these are 5, do we want to go for 3.5k or something like this? Maybe 3. We cannot negotiate them all. I think I was rather fast in my youth, but yeah, you can probably tell these times are gone. I'm 37, don't forget that. So I'm not. I don't want to go out there and play football and be brilliant at it. My best times are behind me as a footballer, and they weren't any good. Alright. Oh yeah, we need to do it this way, due to the mouse wheel. Sorry. 3.5k for Tillander. Cristiano Ronaldo is... I would say this guy's got no life, but this is not true. His life is football and nutrition and being the best at something that he's very, very good at to this day. There's a certain professionalism to him that is not met in football to this degree. You don't get to have a six-pack like Cristiano Ronaldo all the time if you just stray off the path for 5%. You just don't. Or maybe this is just me overinterpreting stuff, but usually you don't. Was this? I guess this is a Messi and a Ronaldo story. The stuff with the taxes, though, right? I'm not sure. I'm not informed enough to debate this. Really, I don't want to be the person to I don't know, say some bullshit on the internet about no, not paying their taxes or something. Also, this is probably a theme with professional footballers or high earners in general. So, yeah, what does it matter? I want to negotiate them all. Why can't I? Usually there's a negotiate all button here. But for some reason it doesn't exist. Yeah, okay. Negotiate. And last but not least, BK forwards. Oh, he might become unsettled. Well, in that case, they will get the same offer as everyone else. That's it. Alright. Well, the funny thing is we can now play August Tillander. We can play him. And then we can sell him. What heat? We would probably take a draw. I think this is realistic. This is us. Is there a problem with the mentality? No. I do not think so. I'd rather have him score a goal or two. Walson's leadership credentials. I don't think so. Oh no. Pre-roll ads are on. Alright. We'll do a break after the game though. Let's go into the game first. Then we'll do a break. Twitch is really interesting that way. I certainly understand why some people think that the platform has made some questionable decisions recently. Not that I could judge it though. I've not been around Twitch long enough, so I don't know. So, you got any plans for the weekend? Anyone else here on the channel, if there is anyone around? Well, at least the amount of bots increased, let's put it that way. But in case you got any plans for the weekend, let me know. And whilst I'm interested in you as people, I'm also interested in stealing your ideas. So this is an entirely egoistic question. I want to have some ideas for the weekend. What to do. There's also a 3-day weekend in Germany, so we got a national holiday. Should go on a trip or something. $2K. Is this the old offer or the new one? Who knows? Well done. I really want to know what's the rules here. What's the rules? The rules is those in the U19 that finish first, they are promoted. You witnessed all of it. Seriously. You witnessed all of it, I think. Because yesterday we had that draw, and the 2 matches prior to that were the ones that we played with that tactic, and against Gefle and against Kalmar. We managed to get 4 points. And if you remember the match against Gefle, that was the one where somebody was sent off early on, and we still went down 2 goals and clawed it back for some reason with the long shot by Malte Ekman, and were unable to win it. So I guess this is 2 points lost, given the circumstances of this match. On the other hand, yeah, exactly. Kalmar was the Puget show. Which is not on YouTube yet, by the way. YouTube is behind our streaming schedule, I think by 3 days or something. I try to release a video a day. So in case you see this later on, yeah. This is all with the new tactics, yes. Well, the new tactics is not that new, it's a 4-2-3-1. We played that previously. Or this stuff, it's not that new. What's new is that we go cautious about it and not positive. We commit less to the attack. And this reduces chances overall, I feel. So, I guess that's a plus. Given that we conceded too much. And this very defensive though might be absurdly bad. I have no idea yet. That said, for an away game against a stronger opponent, we probably should... We should try to get it sorted. And get them comfortable with this kind of approach. Also, Kont will not play. He'll be on the bench. Well, yeah, maybe. You're his coach after all. And you will be for another half a year. And then you will retire. We will need to give you another coach at that point to rename. By the way, there's I think due to channel points you can also do that right now. So there's no need to give me another 100 bits to get that coach renamed. I think I should have. Yeah, that's a big bet. So, are you willing to put some money on this? I wouldn't do that. Seriously, this is I don't know. This is unlikely. But considering renaming players, I think no, don't bet, especially not on the internet. Don't do that. You you did it last time, and you won an emotional dividend, and you lost the money. So I guess don't do that. Keep your money with your family or with yourself. No, I was willing to go for. You can rename coaches at least, a staff member. Don't donate me that amount of money. Seriously though, you can have it. I think for 10k channel points. I enabled it, or 7.5 or something. You can probably look at it. I don't know where it is. There should be rewards for channel points. And oh yeah. So apparently I can do my own. Yeah, name generator is 10k, exactly. So you can yeah, but you do nothing but hang around the stream once it launches. So I guess that's unexpected. No, you will probably be able to rename another coach once the current one leaves. So there's no need to spend money on this kind of stuff. I feel like money shouldn't. How do I put this? So with the ads, it's not like we have a choice. Because Twitch will either show the ads as a pre-roll, or it will show it to the current viewership. For this installment of Football Manager, I don't think so now. I had to do the workaround with the second coach for the new faces. So you can also do that with the editor, and with the editor it's much easier. So I don't have it now. I had it with another version of Football Manager, I think, but it needs to be bought every single season, and I wouldn't use it. Fuck off, seriously. I wanted 3.5k. Not something like this, and now I need to renegotiate every single one of these. Can't I just... Is this on the transfers? Can I renegotiate this here? For all of them? No. Usually there's a negotiate all button here. I don't know why it's missing. Highly annoying. So we said 3.5. They don't want to offer 3.5. So say we go for 3 and reduce this one to 40%. Also, in case you're getting annoyed by it at this point. Yes, the mouse wheel's still broken. Sorry. We had some communication problems within... That sounds wrong. We had some communication problems on the matter, given that I want to get a new one from Amazon. So... I should probably just buy a new one for whatever it costs, 25 euros or something. Yeah, if offered for free. I felt mentally asleep for a second. Like, what did I do? Just the same, really. This is a Draconia Black, so this is absurdly cheap as a mouse, but they all break for me anyway, and so I'm a cheapskate at this point, because I bought so many expensive mouses in my life and they all break. If you're lucky, they break after 2 or 3 years, at least for me. And I realized that there's people that have the same mouse for 10 years, but I don't. I never had. They usually the left mouse button breaks at some point. It just starts to double click. So I still have the old one. Here we go. This is the old one. This one double clicks if you click the left mouse button. The one I currently have has a broken mouse wheel, and every single other version of this product, but it's not a version. I just bought 5 or 6 in my lifetime of these. They all broke the left mouse button, all after 1.5 years. So this is excellent. This is excellent merchandise. I think it's a German company, Charcoon, and they produce it in, I don't know, China, Taiwan, somewhere. Sorry to all the Chinese that feel offended because I mentioned Taiwan. Also, not sorry. But I should mention Tibet on top, right? Probably wave a flag here, whatever. Korovic wants a new contract. Anyway, I never found a mouse that's acceptable, that's heavy enough, that has, I think this one has weights. I never removed them. I like, my mouse is heavy. And with acceptable amount of DPI. I use this on the table without a mouse pad or something. I just hate that kind of stuff. I just want to have a mouse that's capable to run on a glass plate, and that's it. So, yeah. And usually I use it with high sensitivity, so it moves rather fast with really small movements. So the opposite of what everyone does that plays Counter-Strike. You know, the people doing that kind of move with the mouse all day, just to get 3 millimeters to the right. I'm the opposite of that. I want to move it a small amount and it will run through over the entire screen. And I have 3 of these here, so yeah. That's probably why I don't play shooters, by the way. What do we do about Korovic? He will not get a new contract, will he? No, he will not. I'm not aware of that technique. Well, there's touchpads, but I don't think that's what you're referring to. Or track balls. And what do they call that small knob in the middle of a keyboard that exists with laptops? That too, but otherwise I'm not sure. So let's resolve this issue if we can. He's unable to. Well, no surprises there. Okay. Yeah, I'm not aware of it. Well, I'm aware of the technology, I guess, due to the drawing pads or something like this. I guess this would work, but I'm not aware of this technique in particular. New contract for Korovic. So, I will not abuse a poll for this. Korovic will not get a new contract. You are right. The new contract does not reflect the player you have become. You have not become any better, but the club has become better, so you are not worth it. We pay you €6 a week, and as a matter of fact, did he develop at all? Other than in a negative direction? What's he talking about? Also, we can't afford it. Yeah, consider your options. You can go. That's totally fine with me. Oh, for... He still wants to remain. Cool. Okay, team selection. For some reason, I think I know who you want to play on the left side. Or maybe on the right. On the left. He trained well, so we will give him the time. His form hasn't been great. 6.9 is average. For us though, that's good. In this situation, so I guess he can play. I will do the opposite though too. I think August Talander at this point is in good mood. He will get sold. I will be angry about it. And then... Well, I will not be angry about it. But... Trains well, conduct is okay-ish. I think Talander can play. As a defensive winger. The shadow striker role should be really clear at this point. Otherwise, one had decent games recently in that role. For some reason, we didn't warn him about his bad performance last time out. So we gotta do that right now. And half a week's wages are fine for it. He didn't create anything, so that's it. Otherwise, it's fine. Deep lying playmaker, I guess this is Ekman, usually. If I can find him, there he is. 7.7, his heading improved. Yeah, sure. That's not great, but it's okay. Let's give him another chance and we will see. Forsell and Hellberg. Well, I wouldn't say this is a difficult decision. Usually the choice goes with Nila Forsell in this situation. That said, Hellberg... That's a really weird thing. So, recently Hellberg played in different positions, time and time again. All over the pitch. And actually we were happy with it, to a degree. So I guess he'll be on the bench. Who do we have left? We need a goalkeeper. Is there anyone that trained really well? Dirk, Franson, Morgan, Hellström. So we will play Dirk and Ngongo, I guess. And Eriksson. Eriksson. Dirk. Ngongo. I think Goodwin trained well too. So why not play him? This is how it goes. Once you train well, you play. And then on the left side, we can probably get Hellström back on the pitch if he's ready. Yep. There he is. So, that's the core squad. Now we need a replacement, which would be Sederberg. We need somebody to play... Well, Hellberg's there. I guess Smilovic is fine, or Hagedal for that matter. Where's Hagedal, by the way? Oh, here. Yeah, as I said, I'm blind. Smilovic. In my defense, I stare on screens all day. Rigby. Well, most of the time. So we need somebody for the left wing. Left wing back position by Comte is totally fine. Right one can be covered by Hellberg in case we need it, which is likely to happen time and time again. But it's not that big of a deal. I can live with it, I think. And then we need attacking midfield, Shadow Striker and Striker. So we can cover all of that in one player. So his name is Wolfson and he will be on the bench. Korovic is unhappy, so I guess this says you will not play. Björklund as a bench option is okay. Melander, I don't feel it. Low. This is a really sad story to me. 26 games, 15 goals, 7 appearances this league, 1 goal. I don't know. I guess if he had the game time, maybe. And then... Nilsson definitely not. Bengtsson, Högberg. Högberg is not a... no. I feel Vorlin maybe. But Vorlin will be sold, so no. I don't think so. I think we'll put Björklund on the bench really. Or Morgan. Morgan would be Morgan is on an 8.5 rating. Morgan it is. Björklund can remain home. That's it. That's the squad for today. Also, this doesn't look that great. Tactical familiarity isn't wonderful. It's much better here though. So, well, we'll still go with very defensive. They need to run it at some point. And in this game, we don't stand much of a chance. So, maybe it helps. Sure. Oh no, maybe opposition instructions? There's something that we can add. Let's say just a few, really a few instructions. In case we notice something that's blatantly obvious, like the fact that Mubarak Nu has the strength of August Tillander, which is a rare occasion. That said, he will probably outrun them, so why not try to foul him off the pitch? I will probably answer that once somebody gets a red card, but... left-footed. Only. These physicals are... not bad. Not bad. Okay. And for him, also showing him onto the weaker foot. That's it. Submit the team. Here we go. Alright. I think easing the pressure is fine here. And then encourage them in a cautious manner. This is cautiously for some reason. This is the cautious gesture. I don't know why. Franson for sale. Sorry, I had to deal with, this is about food. So, obviously this has priority. We're trying to determine, when to eat. Magnussen. Oh, was it Tillander that won that ball? It was it? Braholm. Dirk. Puget. Antoine Puget. Dirk. Forsell. Hellström. Dirk. Long ball towards Franson. Franson's on a yellow already. 1 minute into the game. Man. It's probably not a good idea. Let's use him like this. I guess that counts as a shot. And we concede a corner. Erlich. Corner. Good win, well defended. Oh, this is dangerous. Eriksson. That keeper earns his wage today. Erlich. Not a problem. Not a problem either, but again, we face a corner. And Eriksson's on a 7.0 already. Well, if you manage to get these saves. No, Erlich. Forsell, well done. Really well done. Tillander. This doesn't look like counter-attacking, which is fine. Oh, come on, Dirk, seriously, why? That looked like a lapse in communication. Keeper should have told him that there's nobody behind him. Well defended by Ngongo. And we face another corner. It's a bit much, is it? Well done by Hellström. Ngongo. Tillander. I don't know what happened here. Magnussen, Redenstrand. Seehusen. Mensah. I'm not sure if they are that much better. They probably are. But all of the chances created came after corners so far. Never mind. This one came another way. Who's got the yellow? Tillander. Sure. Oh. Yeah, sure, he plays as a defensive winger, so there's nothing we can do. We can use him as an inverted winger though, in this situation. Something like this. On support duty. To ease off tackles. You know, everything. Forsell doesn't manage to win the ball. Ehrlich, everybody behind the ball now. Mensah, Ehrlich. It feels like they don't close him down that well. That said, we intercepted the ball in this situation. Swan, Tillander loses the ball. If this is all we can do, we will be under extended amounts of pressure. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. 15 minutes into the game, let's encourage them. We're away. Oh no, we gave away a free kick. This had to happen, right? This is where you tell me that the wall doesn't contain enough players and that we made it easy for them. I guess that's correct. Ngongo suspended for next match. With Broholm, Ehrlich, Nilsson. Alright, let's change tactics. This will not make it much better, but I don't think it can make it much worse. Tillander tees off tackles, I think that's viable. Same with Ngongo, sadly. 3 yellows in 20 minutes is a bit much though. And whatever happens, encourage the team. Corner by Tillander. Hellström doesn't get to the ball. Swan. 32% possession. Well. Forsell, good win. Magnussen tries to defend it. Oh no. Well, Tillander, you should have taken the foot. This is what he paid for after all. Magnussen, Seehusen. Long. That should be offside. Very offside. And it was. But yeah, that's the risk. They have a really fast player that is a really good finisher, so we run into an open knife now. Well defended by the two. Ekman, Ngongo. Good win. Why, Goodman? Why? It worked this time though. Oliver Swan. First shot of the game. I guess that's something. Dirk, Puget. Puget for Dirk, Forsell, Puget. Nearly. And it's a free kick. I don't even know why. Well, the argument could be made, yeah. I think the overlap on the right is a good idea in this situation. I'm not so sure if focusing... So my problem with focusing is the following. If you focus play somewhere, usually that means that that area of the pitch gets congested very much. because the players shift to that side, right? So what? I cannot. I should show it with the mouse. So give me a second. Say, can you please stop this? Say we focus on the right, then most of the players will be on the right most of the time, which is totally fine, to a degree. So this makes it viable to go with long balls to the left. But we want to create penetration in these areas, correct? So if we want to create penetration in these areas, we want the players to get away from here. It doesn't matter which side we focus on, the other one will be deserted, to a degree. Our attacking duty player is out on the left. So Puget, if he wants to employ his attacking focus, he needs some space here, right? So that would imply that we need to focus play down the right, so they can switch sides and Puget has a lot of space. Yeah, maybe. I guess we can just try around. But it's hard to determine if this is a good one or a good idea. Just because we don't know if it's down to the fact that we focus play down that side, or if the players adhere to it. You're serious about it? Okay, let's go both sides. The thing is, our playmakers are not on these sides, so we might lose more possession there, because Malte Ekman is not there. On the other hand, I agree that going through the middle is not a good idea with these. Oh, come on, Eriksson. Why? That was entirely not needed. Ehrlich. Corner. So far, so good. Nilsson with a volley. Mensah, Broholm, Ehrlich, just faster than Dirk, and he puts it wide. We've been lucky. Alright, that's it for now. We are not great. He didn't play well, neither did he. We'll just tell everyone as it is, in a rather cautious manner. If we can find it, it is. There it is. No, they are demotivated to a degree, at least some of them. Hellström is demotivated. Well, great. Again. It's a draw between Trollhättan and Kalmar. Forsell, Mensah. Doesn't look like we create much, huh? Oh, interesting choice. Oh, come on, Eriksson. Seriously? He didn't come out. And it's offside. second time in a row that we're really lucky. Like, really, really lucky. Okay, it was offside, but still. That should have been an easy one for Eriksson to get outside of his goal and just pick it up. Fine. So, I'm not sure if focusing down the wings works the way we expect it to. Also, the underlap and the overlap might be too much. To be too restrictive with tactical instructions can reduce creativity overall. I think we should rather not give them specific instructions in this situation. They might not adhere to it anyway. And rely more on the playmaker in this situation. At least that's my best guess right now. I always listen. Well, at least I try to. In this situation, the box-to-box midfielder looks like he's not in a great shape anymore. So this should imply that the playmaker can play some passes, right? Yeah, you think it's about the overlap and the underlap. I do not necessarily disagree. Yeah, sure. That might be. Okay. Well. Phrasing, sir. Phrasing. I feel like I'm encouraging bad behavior, and this is quite the opposite of what I like to do. So please don't bet any money. Seriously. Pouget. It was a great dribble. Imaginary money is better. Like, I don't know, cryptocurrencies or something like this. Something that's entirely worthless. Magic money. I'm not sure if I'm aware of magic money. I guess imaginary money exists in Dungeons and Dragons, so that would count, right? There's something else. Franzson is on a yellow. He doesn't play well. Do we want to take him off? The magic money? Maybe. So let's get Wolfsson out there. Play him as a pressing forward, just like we used to. And August Tillander can come off too. His motivation doesn't serve as well at this point. He's on a yellow card, he didn't do well. And I will put Morgan on and switch sides for Pouget. Maybe this confuses him. For a second at least. Hellberg for Nogongo doesn't feel right though. Not in this situation. That said, he's anxious. And in midfield, well, I guess Lowe can come on at some point for Oliver Swan. But Oliver Swan, it feels like he has another 10 minutes in him. So let's bring these two on. And encourage the team. We do focus play down both sides now, as you said. So that should do it. Apparently it didn't. Renstrand, Broholm. Pouget is not on attack, no. Pouget is on support duty out here. Cause Nogongo is on attack duty. We could switch that. If you think this is better. But I usually I like to imply an overlap. But this is a more direct approach. Morgan. Swan. That might be offside. It is. These are... He's a decent tackler. He's got some pace and so on. Mensah, also a decent tackler. He doesn't have a great game though, for some reason. I don't know why. This is their right side, so this is our left. Yeah, I don't know why. We've got 10 minutes to go. We've got 3 additional substitutes. Might as well use them. So I guess Nathan Lowe for Oliver Swan, because I don't know what else to do here. Helberg, Nila Forsell is exhausted, so that's an easy one. And then Conte is motivated. Dirk didn't do much. To be more creative. Yeah, to get some movement in, that's... I think that's not a bad idea, overall. I like to do this kind of stuff. I like this partnership, in particular. I'm a big fan of this. That said, it's hard to pull off in Football Manager. But if you pull it off, it's quite astounding. And we will go from cautious to positive here. We've got 7 minutes plus stoppage time. I don't think so, no. I do not want to shave my head. Thank you very much. Well done. Who was it? Ekman. Ngongo, Puget, decent pass towards Low. Ngongo. On support duty now. Low. Ekman. Helberg. Why balanced though? Hoven. Hellström. It's a penalty. Seriously? Well, so much for balanced. Cool. That settles the matter. Our team or theirs? Because I think we could have been worse, but we could have been a lot better too. I'm not entirely convinced of the playing philosophy. I'm not that sure. We didn't create that many chances. The possession stats don't look like we were in control of the game. I guess I'm just not a big fan of that kind of football. Maybe, yeah, maybe. But we play it with a cautious mentality usually at this point. And sometimes I think, so I guess this is one of those sentences that can be prefixed with "just hear me out." Sometimes I feel like we should do defensive and attacking as a mentality, and then focus on the passing later. And just due to the fact that this is more segregated, the attacking and the defensive duties, so that people or players commit to less phases of play. And maybe this is required here. On the other hand, I like the perspective that they contribute to defense, all of them. We need it. Yeah, I realize. I don't see it that way. There will be a point at some point where I will just say no, but not for circumstances of ignoring you, but because I have a different opinion. That will happen at some point, and it might go wrong, or the other way around, really. If I follow your advice all day, then in the end, it might go wrong too. This is just the nature of the game, right? In any case, we lost that game. It's not that horrible. We'll tell them that they were unlucky. I don't think anyone needs to be warned in particular. We will have the warnings later on, and these warnings will consist of financial benefits for the club. Not for them, though. So, yeah. We lost the point in comparison to Trollhättan. And I appreciate the help, by the way, in case that's not clear by now. I really do. Feedback is important, and I feel like I had a similar perspective on the game as you did quite a while ago. And then I realized that sometimes things are not that easy. Especially with the focusing play down this or that. I really like to focus play down an area where there's a playmaker or somebody. Say you've got a target forward on a wide position, a wide target man. So once you play a wide target man, for example, and focus play down that wing, that can work really well, because everybody just takes the pass for that wide target man, and that's okay. So space gets congested there, but still the wide target man picks up the ball most of the time. And then there's a lot of penetration to be had in other areas of the pitch. That's one way to do it. Or to focus play down the middle and play with a target man as a striker, for example. Especially if you have a deep-lying playmaker or something like this who just plays the long ball and straight through the middle towards the target man. And then you've got wingers, for example, that penetrate on attack duty. Or shadow striker, really. That kind of stuff works. But focusing play down wings, for example, where there's wingers or inverted wingers that are not that great with passing, it works sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't. And I'm not sure how to put this. I think it works once you achieve a direct manner of penetration on these wings. It also works with a target man, really. It's just playing down somewhere does not necessarily imply that playing down that space needs to be the penetrating pass. I think that's the misconception. And I'm not saying that you misunderstand that. That's not what I'm trying to imply. I think I'm trying to imply that there's different ways to go about this. And playing down somewhere can be interpreted very differently depending on the tactic. So, say you play a 4-2-3-1 with 3 attacking duties in attacking midfield. They will try to penetrate your position all the time. And if you've got a deep-lying playmaker and penetrate down the right, you will try to play a penetrating pass. He will not try to play for the man, especially if you pass into space. In addition, so you need a runner there in that situation. But you might as well do the same with the target man. Then do not pass into space. Pass for the man. But both of them originate in the middle, right? Yeah, exactly. For example, exactly. So the target forward distributes towards the flanks. This works just fine. This is basically what we did with Ishak Al-Holstrom. He rarely found the players out there on the wing, but he usually found somebody in midfield that found the next pass for a player out on the wing. That overlapped. And then they crossed it back in and Ytterhogdals Holmström was available in 15 out of 30 of his goals or something. I think it was 29 goals, I'm not sure. It was enough, that's for sure. So, but we didn't even necessarily focus down the middle there, because it just, it went in a natural manner. A target man attracts balls most of the time. There's some sort of hidden instruction to focus passing on the target man. I think the deep lying forward has that too, which is a problem actually, because for a deep lying forward like Marcus Woldsund, the focused passing towards his person as a deep lying forward, which is I think a hidden instruction in Football Manager, implies that he gets a lot of long balls. You don't have to ask. Always give me a tip. And a lot of this is opinion based, I think. So I don't necessarily think of our opinions as facts. So in that sense, I do not feel attacked by tips or recommendations or something like this, because everybody's got their own opinions on the game and on football in general. Sometimes it comes down to what you like to do. For example, I do not like to play long balls towards Woldsund. I don't like this, because I don't think it's viable. He's got decent technique and so on, but the physicals don't say I will challenge a central defender. He needs to do that on a technical level or on a mental side. And he's not good enough for that. He's box standard, middle of the road for everything. So to focus passing on him is not a good idea. To have him as a passing option up front, very different story. But he needs to be supported. He needs to be supported from midfield or with a second striker. And I don't play with a second striker, so you can probably guess my philosophy with this. Yeah. I guess that's a personal error of mine, or a personal weakness. So I have no problem accepting this as a recommendation. Seriously. In fact, please remind me of it, if you can, to do that from time to time. And this comes down to a really weird thing. I kinda don't like the fact that they changed the user interface that way. This was done due to be more realistic and more close to the game, with the because it looks like a tablet. And I've always seen tablets as a waste of time and a waste of resources. To me, it's either a mobile or it's a PC. I don't see a use case for tablets most of the time. So I'm not familiar with handling these, and this is really what's down to it though. I like lists. I like the way Football Manager worked previously. I like the old user interface. I like the fact that I cannot show you right now, but the team meetings with the players in a circle. That's annoying to me. I want a list. I want that old list back. Because in a list I could have pressed Control A. This doesn't work anymore. It's not even sorted to me, the way they sit in a circle there. I don't care if it's realistic. I want a nice user interface, not some sort of visualization of what's realistic. I realize. I know. And I realize that tablets have their use. For example, with where is it? There. With pen and paper role-playing, tablets for character sheets are really great. And previously, prior to owning tablets, we had to use, the paper and to put them into some foil. I think it's foil. The transparent sheets made out of plastic that you can write on the outside. This is fantastic to renew character sheets and so on. So tablets changed that. Now we can use D&D Beyond or something on a tablet, and this is fantastic. The entire cast of Critical Role used this for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now. It works just fine. So it's not like I'm denying that. It's just, to me, it doesn't feel natural. Especially it doesn't feel natural to use half of the screen if you can use all of it. I just want the old user interface back. This is not some sort of this is not some sort of everything was better back then statement. No, especially I'm not. I definitely do not want to be considered somebody that's conservative or something. I don't feel that way. I just like lists. I played damn Football Manager, and the second most played game in my life is probably EVE Online. Of course I like lists. This is how life looks to me. So, yeah. But this is a personal circumstance. It has nothing to do with the game being that good or that bad. Options are great in that kind of circumstance. Anyway, yeah, I love EVE Online, even though I don't play it anymore. So in case you're interested in this, we can talk about this later maybe. But I was I guess head off. It's with friends though, so I don't feel like this is some sort of hierarchy. But I managed a wormhole corporation for some time, small one though. So I really love EVE Online, and I still remember the experiences fondly. That said, a friend of mine put it into really nice words. That played with us for some time, and at some point he decided he wants to stop because, as he said, EVE is really nice, but I do already have a job, and that's kind of right. That said, if I would not need to earn money otherwise, I would probably play EVE. I like it. EVE's great. Has its problems though. So I want to go for a break for a second. I need to find out. Yes, I did. Let's talk about that in a second. So I need to find out how long it is until food's ready. It might be 1 or 2 minutes. It might be 20. All right. And given that pre-rollouts are on, I will run another ad break in that time. I will be back though. If not for anything else, then saying goodbye until tomorrow. So, yeah, see you in a sec. The good news about ad breaks is you have a timer. So you realize when the stream is likely to start. At least for me it is. And we got rid of ads for yet another hour. And in my defense, I ran the longest ad break there is available because I wanted to get rid of pre-roll ads for another hour in case we can't stream for another hour. Turns out we can't. It's about 45 minutes. Still not a bad decision though. So now we can talk about Stellaris all day. If you want to. That said, Stellaris is like 5 games throughout the patches. At least that's what I'm told. Yeah, you too. You too. Let me... one thought that crossed my mind. Probably not whilst I was talking to my better half, but I guess on the way back. One thought that crossed my mind was until they patched it, I guess. No, but about Football Manager, I think to consider the strengths and weaknesses of the team is something that we should do, I think. We're trying to push an agenda, I guess, on the players that they might be suited or not that much to do. And I'm not sure how I can phrase that another way. This thought process is basically Voltsund plus. So I do not want necessarily to go back to the drawing board. But let me put it like this. This is a home game against Tabby. Tabby is one of those squads that we would need to beat. They moved up. So I guess we can stand a chance. But Tabby has always been a hard one. One league below as well as in this one. They deserved it to go up entirely. But I'm thinking, who are the best players and what are they good at in our squad? So the best player overall is Bernie Goat. Yeah. Great. He doesn't play for us just yet. But we can make an argument already. Apparently he's a decent target forward. I don't like these stats for a target forward though. This doesn't look like a target forward to me. And if it does to you, I don't know what's wrong with you. He's decent as a target forward, but not great. Jumping reach and strength are not good enough. This is very important for a target forward. This looks much better. Yeah, he is. More or less. And his vision is a bit lacking. I remember that from somewhere else. In fact, I think it was 7-2. He comes deep to get ball. So he's a supporting striker. He is strictly not any attack duty. This is really important to realize in his occasion. And his dribbling is shit. So that's new. He's 21. He might improve there. I don't know how much. Same with the long shots. This is not necessarily a bad thing. So where does this leave us? Well, target forward would imply a lot of focused passing in his direction. His heading isn't great. His jumping reach isn't that great. His strength isn't that great, at least not for a target forward. So on a supporting role as a target forward, it feels wrong to me, right? It's not that this is the worst of it, but as a tactical instruction, I feel like this is a bit off. Even though the star rating implies that it's good. But I don't feel like this is perfect. Pressing forward? Sure. That could work. His concentration and decision making isn't that great, but as a pressing forward on any of the duties here, he's more or less fine. Pressing forward is okay. And to be fair, pressing forward can be a supporting role that comes deep. So that's alright. This complements a pressing forward, not in a way that it is vital to come deep for a pressing forward. Yes, exactly. Borderline is the way to put it. And this is mostly down to the fact his balance is good enough. This is mostly down to the fact that his strength is not good enough, right? The technicals and the vision, sure. But there's two things you need to do as a deep lying forward. You need to receive the pass, and you need to be able to play a pass. Maybe there's more. Obviously there's more, create chances and so on and so forth. But the playing the pass stuff, it's not that much of a deficit if that pass just finds another player in your squad and does not create a chance. You just retain possession. So it's not horrible if this goes wrong. Yes, it does. But to finish that point, it's not horrible if it goes wrong, as long as you receive the pass and don't lose the ball. And this is technique, passing, first touch, and very much strength. Because with strength we can outmuscle every central defender. He can come deep with his good movement, and he can outmuscle whoever approaches him and tries to win the ball back from him, and then play a possession pass, if he doesn't find a creative pass. And he will not find a creative pass most of the time. But the lack of strength is a problem. What do we have left? Advanced forward, definitely not. Trequartista, absolutely not. This is the opposite. Yeah, he has. And then there's false 9. For false 9, he's not technical enough. You noticed the dribbling already. This dribbling is a problem. I'd say a striker can play without dribbling though, but not as a false 9. I don't think that's viable. And a complete forward is a combination of all of these. So what's the best role for him? What's the best one? I guess pressing forward on support to a degree. But that doesn't focus... pressing forward is not very focused on scoring. And he's got a decent trait. So, one of these two. Deep lying forward is complemented by comes deep to get ball, right? But this strictly speaks supporting striker. This is a false creator, if you want to put it that way. False 9? A false 9. No, this is not a false 9. It's a false 10. He's the big man and the big man little man partnership, that's for sure. But yeah, but complete forward implies that he's got really good mentals. And he doesn't. A complete forward is to have a complete forward in the squad, usually you need somebody that is that much better in everything than the rest of the league. Or at least than the rest of the squad. You need somebody that is absolutely able to dominate game, if you let them do their thing. Robert Lewandowski comes to mind. You do not need to instruct Robert Lewandowski. Yeah, but... well, I can't set it up now because he's on trial, you know the problem. So I might train him as a complete forward, sure. I will also train him on the weaknesses, definitely. At least that's what I think right now. Because the way he develops and we can grind him to the bone in training, you know. You probably remember from signing. He's got very low susceptibility to injury. He's a professional. Well, he's fairly pro now. I think he might have been professional or he was fairly pro. I wouldn't need to look. But also teamwork and work rate are decent. This is okay. I think we can pull this off though. That said, as a complete forward, I think that's too much. A complete forward moves a lot. And technically, so not technically, but tactically, we use this with Woldsond. And we realized at the start that Wolfson picks up a lot of passes on the wings. This is the way a complete forward works. But later on, he was missing in the center of the pitch. So he contributed to build-up play, but there was nobody in the middle of the pitch afterwards. No crossing target or whatever. I think the question is if we can afford to play with a complete forward in this squad. A complete forward is well employed in case you expect to need some creativity. I think so. There might be a problem here due to me not finding the correct words, but creativity in that sense is about movement, and he moves to the wings as a complete forward, as well as coming deep, and approaching the passing playmaker or something. So as a complete forward, he does both, and he also runs for balls, which is fine. But they get passed down the wing or something if they think he can pick him up, and afterwards he's not in the middle of the pitch. Not being in the middle of the pitch for him is not a good thing, because he's the sole striker. So with a 4-2-3-1, a shadow striker would need to overlap, or overlap is the wrong word, to penetrate in that case, and to be a passing option. We can have that, but only if we have a good shadow striker. Olivers 1 is not bad, but he's not great. He's strictly middle of the road as a shadow striker, I think. So that might be viable. On the other hand, I don't think it's bad if we say he moves to the front and the back, you know, just approaching the playmaker and then getting back into his striker role, just like a deep lying forward does. So, assuming that we train him as a complete forward in the future, maybe, because right now he's missing some obviously necessary things as a deep lying forward, right? Not as a deep lying, as a complete forward. The vision isn't great, the long shots aren't that great, heading isn't that great, decision making isn't that great. Decision making is a big ask for a complete forward. They need that. Anticipation, composure, mentals are important. So a deep lying forward on attack is not suited for this trait. Or I'm not sure if it's entirely unsuited, but I don't think it's It is? Okay. Well, yeah, that might be an idea. It might be an idea. Problem with deep lying forward on attack is it requires dribbling. He doesn't have that. So I guess the argument here is, I would argue that we need to employ him in something that he's good at. Yeah. So I think deep lying forward on support duty is not that bad. Support duty doesn't necessarily say he will not score. Don't forget that, right? We played with a deep lying forward on support duty for most of last season, and that deep lying forward scored 15 goals as a deep lying forward in support duty. So it's not like he doesn't score, in case he gets to it. And in this situation, now we can argue, okay, his vision isn't that great, and his decision making is lacking, but overall, none of it is strictly that bad that he cannot play in this squad. And we can help him to develop, because for development, he needs to be good at what he does. How do I put this? He needs to have decent match ratings going forward, and I think he can have decent match ratings, and he can develop to get these attributes up to 10, where he's lacking. And then afterwards, we can talk about dribbling all day. Or even along the way. We can train his dribbling specifically. Or we can train specifically decisions and composure. Because that's also needed for any of the other roles. And once it reaches 10 or 11, if he ever gets to it, probably his performances will improve. So overall, we can teach him something else. But I'd rather not train him on 20 different things that he's missing and play him in that role. And this is not down to the star rating, this is down to... I do not want him to... Yeah, definitely. Also, he's want to lead the line. He's got good leadership, good determination. We want to employ his teamwork. And to a degree, his work rate. But this is concerning to me, because there's just too many attributes that are in the gray area. I don't like that. That doesn't say that I do not think he can play as a complete forward. In fact, I like complete forwards a lot. In my own games and tactics. So if I get them, sure, I will try. You've seen that. I tried it with Wolfsund. But the comparison with Wolfsund is probably a good one here. I don't know what the graphics will show, but yeah, they are somewhat comparable. The problem is, on the technical side, we know that Bernie Go has some attributes that are in the 5 area here, like dribbling and long shots. Well, long shots is attacking, but whatever. He's better on the physical side though. Faster, bit stronger, I think. I don't know. Let's compare this. Not that strong, no. It is. Yes, it is. But we have a situation here where we have 2 strikers that have a somewhat comparable profile. And that profile is they are not absolutely dominating in one area, but they can complement build-up play overall. I think that's fair to say, is it? We're not trying to say they have superior vision, because they definitely haven't. And we're not trying to say they are perfect pressing forwards, because they aren't. Pressing forward in our squad is Ishak. Really. Where is he? Okay, that's a bad comparison. There's just another level of game. But I guess you get the point, right? I think we need to include a striker in build-up. As on a supporting role overall. Yeah, role, not rule. So playing them as a pressing forward might complement the tactic, but I do not think this plays to the strengths of the players. So what do we do? And will we end with a similar tactic that we already had? Because it feels like this might end up with a positive 4-2-3-1 or something. Again, we've been there. Or whatever, a balanced one. I don't care. But given that they want us to dominate possession, I don't know. Yes, of course. Well, as a central midfielder or just for the role? Of course we can put the attacking midfielder on support duty, for example. But given our attacking midfielders, you can probably see why I didn't do that. CM, yeah, sure. Something like this. And now probably... Oh, this is not available in a 3-man center. Okay. For whatever reason. Because there's no spaces wide. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's say he's a central midfielder on attack. Sure. And then a deep lying forward up front here. But this is the defensive formation, so I don't know. I'm butchering the formation right now. Not that it's that important. I do not feel like... I'm not that happy with it, even though it's too early to judge it. Well, this is an empty role, right? He can do whatever he wants. The problem with this kind of formation to me is I feel like this is not to the strengths of the players. Well, in terms of complete barricade, I'm a big fan of a 4-1-4-1. With an anchorman and 2 ball-winning midfielders up front. And 2 defensive wingers. This is as destructive as it gets. And pressing forward up front. So if you want to go complete barricade, we can do that. I like that a lot because, seriously, it covers spaces. And it has a defensive midfielder, which is very useful, but it doesn't score much. Because the pressing forward doesn't do shit. He might outrun the opponent's defense after 80 minutes or something. So that happens sometimes. But that's a decent way to do things. Basically the 4-4-2, but you put one of the strikers back in the hole as a defensive midfielder, because in a 4-4-2 the blatant weakness is in midfield. But the 2-man midfield is just not enough to congest the pitch or enough in that vital area of the pitch. So this is why a 4-1-4-1 is a nice formation for this, I feel. Or you can do a similar tactic in yeah, but this again, this is probably down to me being a bit biased. So we're talking this formation, right? Something like this. Sure, this works. Why not? So this is a bit more defensive, in a way, sure. And you can do with the CM whatever you want, yeah. That said, I don't think it plays to our strengths. And this is, if I go back to this. So I'm gonna take a paper and a pen now. This is as unenjoyable as streaming will get. This is why I don't like the squad planner. We did this with pen and a paper for 10 years now, and the squad planner still doesn't do it that well. He shaves his head. I don't know what you're hinting at. I guess he plays. He manages clubs that can just buy the players that he needs. So this is part of it. But I think that for the striker, we are very clear that the striker will need to be deep lying forward on support duty, at least for now. And this is in Voltson's case as well as. Yeah, but this doesn't work. Remember our training facilities and so on. This is a. I feel this is a case of the survivorship bias, actually. Pep Guardiola never managed a club that doesn't have players that can adapt or buy the players that he wants. Just tell me one club he's managed that had shitty players. And this is not a criticism of Pep Guardiola. He can afford that kind of perspective because he never had to manage Darmstadt or whatever. It's entirely different. Well, I'm not gonna hit on Darmstadt. It was just a random club. If he would need to manage a club that has ever fluctuating players that have blatant weaknesses, I don't know, Heidenheim, something like this, he wouldn't be in that position. He wouldn't do it that way. He's too intelligent for that, I guess. And by the way, this happens to other managers too. Think I don't know, Alexander Zorniger, for example, to talk about somebody that's on a different level, a lower one. He likes his overloading attacking football, but sometimes he doesn't have the players for it. And if you don't have the players, you run into a wall basically, with that kind of attitude. To a degree. I think there's some middle ground there. Right? Because I think there's proof to it though, that adapting the system to the players is a good idea. And the first thing I want to argue there, or put forward as an argument, is there is an entire thing called new manager syndrome. And new manager syndrome is getting rid of the current players because you don't like that they're not good at something that you need for your tactic, more or less. And this is an anti-pattern. So new manager syndrome does not necessarily need a new manager. It might also be within a new season. You're trying to reinvent basically the square wheel or something. Just because it's not the way you would like to have it, ideally. Also, in Football Manager, players are really unhappy if they play a role that they don't like. We've seen that with Malte Ekman, so probably not gonna go with a Register anymore. So no, this is not about being bossy, right? I hope you get that. I think this is vital feedback, because you might have a point. By the way, I'm looking at that screen to read the text, so I'm not ignoring you. This is just me. The streaming preview is on the left screen. I think there's merit to both things. The best is if you can combine the current strengths of the players into a tactic that is viable. This is how we went up, right? We included the strictly average Woldsund in a tactic that he was capable to play, and we combined him with Nathan Lowe. And both of them scored 15 times, so in the end we went up. The rest of the players just accompanied them along the way. Obviously every one of those did their job too, to a degree. But, for example, Oliver Swan didn't contribute much last season. Other than being a backup for Nathan Lowe, he didn't score much. I would be surprised if he had 5 goals. He had 4 in 28 games. Still, Oliver Swan has his strengths, right? We can't see them right now. It's not that great. He's, I don't know. He runs with the ball through center. You think so? But then, what does this make a tactic if that tactic is not inferior to the other teams? Doesn't that make this tactic one that the players will not be able to play? So in the end it doesn't work? If you're demanding stuff from the players that they can't do, they get bad ratings, they decline, they do not develop. They will not develop at all if they don't have the good ratings. We need the decent ratings for playing experience that is acceptable, and then afterwards they can develop. This is the way it works, right? they do not get additional experience from having bad games. That's not how it works. They get some experience, but then we also need it now. We don't need it in like 5 years. But as I said, I think there's some middle ground to be had here. And the middle ground is we need to find a... that just affects morale. It doesn't affect development. There's no direct effect on development, I think. It affects morale, and morale in turn affects development. Because they train harder if morale is good. Or no, that's not even true. I don't think they train harder. They play better. And better ratings, in turn, mean more experience, means more experience will be spent. And this is what we see in training. So the morale does not have an effect on training. It does have an effect on the way the players get experience. And this is where the training ratings come from. They will... No, you even get a hint of this in game. Where is it? Let's find a player. Give me a second. So whatever. Let's use Björklund. Björklund had a few games. He never played on this level, right? The problem is that there's the comment is not there. Sometimes there's a coach that comments that they developed due to having experience on a higher level. So the experience on a higher level it just implies that they get more experience per game. And as long as they play an average game, they have more experience per game, so there's an additional... the additional experience is spent on attribute points, right? This is the way it works. So you can have a really shitty player, as long as he gets a 6.6 rating. If it's a league above where he played previously, he will develop to a tiny degree. Doesn't matter much. As long as there's some potential in him, he will develop. It doesn't say how much. He might hit another ceiling for his development immediately. But this is why getting a player from 6th League to Premier League immediately will develop him. Doesn't matter how well he plays. As long as you get him in a squad of good players, he will develop to a degree. Obviously a waste of money and resources in this situation. But for our players, if they have a good... We can actually see this, I think. Antoine Dirk is on an 8.9 rating now. This is down to his personality, the professionalism, and this is down to the fact that he played a lot. And some of these performances have been okay. These two. He never played on that level, so it's a combination. If we put him out of the squad, is there anyone that didn't play much? Yes. And that morale has an effect. This changes morale. And morale has an effect on the match performance. On his individual match performance. So this match performance gets him additional experience because, well, this is not a 6.7 but a 6.9. That gives him additional match experience that will be spent in training. Or it will not be spent in training in case he's a slack. But Dirk is not a slack. Yeah, correct. At least this is the way I understand it, and this is the way I learned it in the internet. So, given that the mighty internet is probably right about this, I'm willing to stick to that opinion for now. Nobody taught me anything different. So, it's an indirect relationship, if you want to put it that way. But... the indirectness comes through basically match experience. Yeah, Yes, it is. It is. I'm not arguing against that. I never did. It's quite vital. In fact, it's vital to have them on perfect morale all day. This is where the assumption comes from that Football Manager is not about football managing, but about morale management. Football Manager should be called Morale Manager. I think this is one of the streamers said this. It wasn't C, somebody else. But more or less, Football Manager is Morale Manager. If morale is good, you are more likely to have good performances by individual players because they have good morale starting into the game. And as long as you win, morale stays positive, usually. You just need to keep it up, keep it rolling, and then everything else will fall into place. So morale is really important. That's why I do all the stuff with the individual talks. And this is why it's so devastating once you are in a downward spiral. If everybody has bad morale and you've got unhappy players in the squad, there's borderline nothing you can do. Because they will not perform well in matches, they will not get match experience, and they will decline as players. So, first of all, you need to fix morale. At least to me. Also, obviously, if you play them in tactics that are not suited for them, they will have less match experience. This is the argument now. Now we're getting back to the point, right? So, to play them to force them into something in hopes they learn it on the pitch gives them less experience. So, yeah. This implies that they do not train that well, and in turn, the morale will drop. Because they do not win that much and so on, and you introduce the vicious cycle, basically. You've got a point. But that point comes back around to haunt you. It really does. So there's two different things going on, and from my perspective. On one hand, to change tactics to a certain degree means that the opponent's manager doesn't expect the players to play that role or to play that way. If you can do that all day, this is great, but obviously familiarity drops, so they will not do it that much. So it's a trade-off. And on the other hand, morale will drop because they're not good at it. So this might work for 1 to 5 matches. And afterwards, the opposing managers will have adapted to it. And all of a sudden, Puget as a defensive forward isn't good anymore because Puget is not a natural defensive forward. I don't know what he's natural at, probably defensive inverted winger. But to employ him in his best role is probably the best idea, as long as the opponent doesn't know how the team will be set up. Yes, to a degree, but it will take vastly more time because, as you said, so say we get the morale to be perfect anyway, right? So you train them in some role, you play them in some role. In fact, you can, by the way, you can train them in another role than they play, right? So say you've got a natural target man, you want him to be an advanced forward. So you train him as an advanced forward and play him as a target man. And sure, in training he will not learn the tactic, but over time he will adapt to it, so he will be perfectly familiar as a target man. He's got all the attributes, he's got great ratings. So then in training, he will develop as an advanced forward, and over time, he will be better as an advanced forward. So at some point you can switch him. The problem is he will decline as a target man whilst you do this. So his match experience will get less and less because his performances will drop off because you use him in a role you don't train him in. So that kind of transition might go through a hole. And that hole is he's not good enough as a target man anymore, but he's not good enough as an advanced forward just yet. And then you end up with trash. because you never get him to the level as an advanced forward that you want him to. Also, there's there's another argument here. Players that do not train will have a natural profile of attribute distribution. If somebody is 1 m, do not try to make him a poacher. Yes, exactly. But he has a tendency to go that way in a natural manner. If we try to force him into a role he's no good at, we always need to retrain him in that role, because once natural progression kicks in, natural progression will always go the way he is naturally born, if you want to put it that way. So, in case of a tower like Ytterhogdals Holmström with 2 meters, he will get the jumping reach 18 whatever you do. And if you try to force him to be an advanced forward, it's just a waste of time. So you will reduce his jumping reach to 16 because he trains as an advanced forward, and his dribbling will go up a few points. But in the end, he's still a target forward. You cannot force him to be somebody else than he is as a person, just due to the size and strength and so on, right? So this is where the perspective comes from, that you need to employ the players like they are. No. Well, yes and no. I'm not talking about hidden attributes. I'm talking about, you know, the green arrows that sometimes appear without training? This is especially, a lot of it comes in during youth years. Say, but we can see this even easier. Let's just pick a random player here. This random guy. Why not? So what's his natural progression? Naturally speaking, he's got decent pace. And he's got decent agility. And his decision making is okay and so on. He's 20 now. It's not like we trained this. No, I'm not. Well, I'm not talking about these specifically. You can imagine it like this. If you want to put it that way. Say you said you're 1 m 70 something, 71 or something like this. Assume for a second that I want to retrain you to be a target man. In real life, this feels kind of absurd, right? So you develop as a footballer, but you are rather fast and maybe you have a good finish, right? Maybe you're a good dribbler. I don't know. Doesn't matter that much. Exactly. So we can train your strength. Xherdan Shaqiri comes to mind. Shaqiri is really strong. Last time I saw him. But he was a really technical player at the start of his career. And I don't know, he must have lifted like, or be on steroids or something, you know? But he was really strong, despite his size, to complement his technicals. But as a target man, he would be lost. It's just not the way he is. We cannot have him grow another 30 centimeters. So that doesn't make sense. And if you stop training him all of a sudden and just let him be, I don't know, whatever, for 5 years, he will go back to whatever shape he had previously. Maybe he will lose some of his strength, maybe he will keep some of his strength, I don't know, depending on what his natural composition is. But most of his strengths will be in the technical area. Or maybe in the mentals. He will not have great jumping reach due to natural progression. He never will get there. We can train him to get better jumping reach, but we will not make a target man out of him. I can tell you that your natural progression probably would not include that much jumping reach and strength. I would not expect you to be trained to jumping reach 15. It's just not viable. Now, if you have jumping reach 5, I would argue that we can get you up to 8 or 9. Maybe. If the player is 1.60 m, forget about it. It's just no way they will reach that. And it's similar with the values that are already in game, right? So yeah, exactly. The moment we stop training you in jumping reach, even if we get you up to 10, you will start to decline, but because it's not your natural shape as a player. But in Football Manager, I do not feel this is tied to. So they have some sort of hidden profile, if that makes some sense. So the size of the player is just a way to notice it for us, a proxy, if you want to put it that way. But you can see this kind of stuff with central defenders, I just remembered. So Ytterhogdals is 1.97 m. He's got jumping reach 19. Even if we try to train him as an advanced forward, we will not reduce jumping reach to 15. We will never get there. And he will never be that fast. It's whatever we train him. It's just not the way he's made up, right? So if we stop training him for 5 years, he will still have jumping reach 18. He's tall enough. That's the way he is. And to make him into something else will not work, and it will not help us. He's not a technical guy. Sure, we can get his passing up to 6. But at the detriment of something else that he's quite natural at. And maybe if we get his passing up to 6, maybe he will lose additional acceleration and pace. Because, well... I think he will... So as I said, this is a proxy. I do not think he will always decline in that. But I think he would... It's more likely that his dribbling, finishing and so on decline. Because he doesn't train them. Than that his jumping reach declines in natural circumstances. And you can see this... if you have a central defender and train him in something else... Look at this. Jumping reach is really expensive, experience-wise, to increase from 18 on. This is not a linear relationship. The first point is always the most easy one. It's very easy to get somebody from attribute value 1 to attribute value 2. Just train them a little bit. The point from 19 to 20 is borderline impossible. But if we look at this, we did never focus his particular training on jumping reach. Yes, he trained as a central defender, so some experience was spent on jumping reach. But most of it came from natural progression. It's not like the experience contributed much. This is just the way he invests his experience, because he's tall. And this comes at the detriment of the other attributes, quite frankly. I'd rather have him with jumping reach 17 and a passing of 7. I'd prefer that. But we will not have it. He's 2 meters. He cannot shrink all of a sudden. Does that make sense? So the problem is that the experience is locked in here, due to his natural progression. We cannot get it out. We need him to decline first. And if he declines in everything and not specifically in jumping reach. Because jumping reach will be the last thing he declines in. He's too tall. That's highly unlikely. So in Burnigoat's case, if we go back to that, Burnigoat is not that bad in that much, right? Say, we'll look at it like this. We will not get him down to acceleration 5 and get that experience to be spent somewhere else. You notice it the way they are as youth players. If you do not train them at all, like the way they come in, basically. So The height and a weight, well, weight is also a bad proxy to a degree, because weight is not the same as strength, obviously. And weight can change over time. Also, size can change over time. They do not come in and are 2 meters tall. So you can have a player that is age 16 and he's 1 meter 80, and 3 years later he's grown 10 centimeters. It's not that likely that they grow much, but they do sometimes. At least I think that's how the way it works. But you can notice it. Where's Extreme? Hopefully we didn't release him. We might have released him. Borgström Anderson. This is fine. This is totally fine. Let's use this guy as an example. So, let me put it that way. He's 18 now. What would you feel his natural attribute progression is? Because, well, let me put it that way. It's not like he developed much. So this is basically a 16-year-old that had two years to age. He didn't develop at all, more or less. But hopefully the argument that he will not be a target man is not that hard, or he will not be a playmaker anytime soon, right? Because naturally, it looks like he's a runner. Yeah. So on the physical side, acceleration and pace probably. Stamina's good, work rate's good, teamwork's good. This is where he's good at. We will not get rid of this. We will not be able to retrain him to be a ball-winning midfielder. How? He's a lightweight. For him to tackle somebody the hard way is just stupid. Even though he has the aggression. He has the aggression and the tackling, but the strength's missing. He's a technical tackler. So, he will not be a ball-winning midfielder anytime soon. And that strength we cannot compensate for. He's 18 now. He will not have strength 15 at the age of 25. That's highly unlikely. But he's good at some things, right? So I don't want to talk this guy strong too much. But he's good at some things. By the way, oh. Well, 8 minutes ago, food was more or less ready. So I need to wrap this up. I enjoyed this, by the way, in case you don't notice. I don't know. The problem is SI doesn't communicate that kind of stuff very clearly, because it's in-game mechanics, and in-game mechanics are kept hidden. So we need to prove this empirically. But it might. The way I know SI, it probably does. Or the other way around, strength doesn't increase because the weight, I don't know. Sometimes there's weird stuff. But as I said, these two are proxies. SI has communicated that very clearly. In the end, jumping reach is the more important value. But a player that has good size and bad jumping reach, which doesn't exist, more or less, will still be taller within the game, so he will have an easier time in case the other player doesn't jump. That said, if you've got one player that is 1 meter 60 and has jumping reach 15 for whatever reason, which doesn't exist in game, and you've got one player that has jumping reach 5 and is 2 meters tall, the one that is smaller with the better jumping reach will out-jump him. If he doesn't jump, the other guy will win. Every single time. Because he's 40 centimeters taller. At least that's what I get from it. But this player is, well, this attribute sample fits his role just fine, right? He's basically a defensive option for somebody that runs on the wing. Yes, it does. It does. So, this guy is a shitty jumper. Even though his height is acceptable. I would not use him in a defensive... I would not want to use him in a defensive setup that is faced with a lot of crosses. He will not out-jump the opponent, even though the opponent might be smaller. I don't know why that is in his case. And certainly the size isn't a bad thing, but his jumping reach is bad enough. That said, in this situation, his jumping reach and strength can probably improve a little bit. So again, we can see this as a proxy, so maybe we get him to 6'6" or something, in case we want to. That said, it doesn't complement his role. In this situation here, his role is, I don't know, wingback, completed wingback. Say we play him as a no-nonsense fullback. This is bullshit. Why would we do that? He's no good at it. He will never be good at it. We will get his acceleration down to 8 and his strength up to 6. He's not viable in that role. Not for us. So there's no reason to shape him into that. Just to lose him once we lose him these attributes later on. There's exceptions to this. Mentals overall improve over the time of a player's career, just because they decline in other attributes, and usually it gets redistributed into mentals. Yes, exactly. Exactly. As long as he jumps. That said, this situation does not exist, statistically speaking. You can basically imagine the 1.70 m player is a cat in this situation, and the other one is a lazy one that's I don't know, somewhere in his head, or I don't know, his jumping is just the little jump, whatever, an alibi basically. But if neither of them jumps, the one that is 2 meters tall will always win, because he's taller. But that's the way it works, at least to my information. Anyway, I hear the dishes in the kitchen. I need to wrap this up. By the way, I enjoyed this very much, and hopefully it was a bit helpful. So maybe that explains... yeah, cat versus rhino is good. Yeah. This is good. But as I said, this doesn't exist in real life, I would have said. This doesn't exist in Football Manager, though. If a player is 2 meters tall, they usually come with jumping reach 10 plus immediately. Football Manager is not that stupid to generate that kind of stuff. And you can look through the entire player base of this club, for example. You will not find a single player that is like this. Look at it. He's 1.90 m. Jumping reach is 13. He's 18. It's highly likely that his jumping reach will go to 15 whatever we do at some point. Even though he doesn't train for it. To a degree, he's a central defender. It's just the way he's shaped. So maybe to use Comte as a wingback is not a good idea. And you can have really weird combinations. Players that are really good at stuff that is borderline useless for their role. Right? I don't know. A central defender with long shots 15. That stuff exists. Sometimes. What do you do with these guys? I'm looking for somebody that's really... I don't know, he's a target man, so that's okay. And Dirk is a decent example. Dirk is not strong enough to be central defender. He's not fast enough to be a good wingback. He's not technical enough to be a good wingback. His mentals are okay. What kind of role does this imply? He's a good passer. His vision is shit. He's not a good tackler. He's not even a great defender, wherever you place him. So what's his strength? Stamina and work rate. So he's some sort of supporting wingback at best. That's no good at most of these things. He's not one to dominate the game. He's one to play a simple possession pass and be available on the wing. And preferably there's somebody to his right, if he plays on the wing, that can cover for him defensively. He's a supporting guy. Not a particularly tall one either, so jumping reach 10 is probably... This is more or less fine. It will not change much. this suits his natural form. Okay, I gotta go for the food. By the way, somebody else joined and heard my rant. So whoever you are, I will wrap up the stream now, and you are welcome to join us later on, hopefully tomorrow. No promises. I'm not sure yet. But thank you very much for watching, and for keeping me company, and for hearing me rant. And in case you watch this later on YouTube, because it gets uploaded to YouTube, sorry for the rant, I guess. But on the other hand, sometimes this kind of stuff is interesting. So, yeah, I will. She's hell of a cook, definitely. Alright, I want to get back into the tactics, and now I have to go for dinner. Maybe I'll come back later. I don't know. Probably not. I should do something else than watch a screen. Great. Thanks for your time. We will end this with obviously an ad break, and I hope this makes some sense. It's not so much about tactics though. This is about development. This is a role-playing aspect, in case that makes sense to you. It's not tactically focused. Yeah. Okay. Time for food. But you are not wrong about some things though, right? There's middle ground to be had here. I'm not saying it is the way I say, and you do not have a point. You do have a point. You can develop players into something that you need them to do. You just can't change them as person. Overall. And if you do, it takes hell of a lot of time. Whilst you do that, you need them to perform as something. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Have a nice evening, and give a hug to your family and so on. Get some fresh air outside in case you need to. And I'll see you next time. Hopefully tomorrow. Yes. Yes. Exactly. We'll talk later. Or tomorrow. Anyway, goodbye, and thanks for watching.